Good morning, guys. I had a pause. I almost said Happy Tuesday.
Nope.
It's only Monday. Abby and I were mixing it up a little bit. So we've been talking about how busy Abby's been traveling, and I remembered she's hopping on a plane again, and she's gonna be at an event tomorrow. So Abby's like, let's do it Monday. Let's shake things up a bit. So
Shake it up.
shake it up. I haven't seen you. I don't think we've done this. God love you in your office for like weeks and weeks.
I know.
Background. You're driving or in your hotel on the way to the airport. So I miss I love that. I miss your serene office setting.
I know my office, my Mary.
I love
Mary. I can't ever remember which side she's
mine.
on.
I never, no matter how much, there's my Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. No matter how much I mess with my camera and my background and position my chair, it just never.
I know. I'm like, which way is it? I know. And I know.
In my screens, I was set, and I know I've complained to you about this before. And I'm not sure anyone else who has a home office, especially during the pandemic. So many people started working from home. And even if you don't work from home, so many moms and dads just have like a computer office space for them. Well, Terry's office space, no children are allowed in or touch because no, mommy's office space, it's like a jungle gym.
Free for all, yeah.
So literally I was like fixing, like my computers are tilted to the side, and no matter how many times they say, guys, do not get on my computer. No drinks or food at my computer. Oh, there's little like mini muffin packets and juice boxes, and I'm just like, I'm going to win.
Yeah. I found one time I came in my office and those little like thumbtacks were all in my chair. They had pushed like probably 100 of them, like an entire pack of thumbtacks in my leather chair. I was like, awesome.
You got to give them creativity points, right? Oh my gosh. I know. Sometimes when I look at things like my leather chair is busted open. My front seat in our SUV, the black leather is torn open. There's just like different things that were nice that are once like my couch, the favorite couch we've ever had. Like there's a cushion that completely torn. And I'm like, whenever I think of we need to replace it, I'm like, no, I cannot replace things until like the baby is like 8 or 10.
I know. I'm like, one day we'll have a nice house. Right now, I don't worry about it. I mean, we have like, bless his heart, Doug, like he'll try, but like we have like, like on the corners, like in our walls, like we have like chunks taken out of them,
right?
Right. What I'm saying? And so I don't know why, but like somehow like a big chunk was like taken out of the wall. And so Doug will like try to go back and like make the chunk not like he'll try to patch it back up.
Right.
But then there's just like a big white spot, like where he put, and I'm like, just don't. Just
a little touch.
Just don't. Like, just leave it. Just leave the big chunk of like empty drywall. I mean, I don't know. I've just given up at this point.
It's so true. It's just how parents' houses are. They're little.
We have like Sharpie. I could put Sharpie. I could take Sharpie markers because I need Sharpies, because I sign books and stuff. Okay, I could take Sharpie markers, duct tape them together, put them in the AC, like of our house, like in the AC ducts. Like I could hide them in the best hidey hole in our house. Our children would find them, take them out, draw on the walls. Like it doesn't matter what I do to them. I could cut a hole in the drywall. I could put the Sharpie markers in the drywall, patch it back up, and somehow they would figure out a way to get them out. And like, there's Sharpie marker all over our wall. Like, I
don't know how much money we've spent on them before, because Terry gets to a point, he's done this, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. He gets so angry and he's like, I'm throwing them all out. Find me the Sharpies, I'm throwing them all out. And then literally he throws them out until we need them again. And then we go spend like $7.99 on a 2-pack.
Yeah, because Sharpies are expensive. Why are they so expensive?
I know. So yeah, it's the same thing. And that also makes me think really quickly. So we have and I'm like, I'm going to diffuse this problem. So again, with like 8 kids and 5 kids, they are constantly in the kitchen. It's the fridge door open, freezer door open, pantry door open. It's like a revolving, oh my gosh. So a couple years ago, I'm like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. So I got, and they worked well. I got locks from Amazon for the fridge and for the pantry. And I literally locks, and I had the key and I hid the key. And it got to the point, and Kelsey was, I think Kelsey, who was the baby at the time, I think she was 3. And literally one day I just watched her climb dangerously, found the key, opened the things up, got what she wanted, dangerously climbed back up and put the key back after she locked it back up like it was nothing. And then I'm just like, I'm done. I'm just done. I can't even hide the key to the padlocks to keep the kids out.
We have locks on our.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. On our freezer.
Does it work?
No.
No.
They know where the key is.
Exactly. And then sometimes it's a pain when you just want to open it.
And the twins will get their older brothers to just unlock it. So it's just annoying for me. Then when I want to go get in it, and then I have to get the keys. So I'm like, forget it.
I know.
Reagan does have a cute shirt on. I'm wearing my robe, so I'm slumming it. Reagan looks cute. She has like bracelets on and everything.
Well, what I told Abby, I got this. It's long. I got this just from TJ Maxx. We all know I love TJ Maxx. It's this long maxi dress, but it appears. It could go, it is a maxi dress, but if someone else saw me, like I was taking the baby for a walk this morning, people were probably like, oh, that mom's in her nightgown. So it could very well go for.
It depends on if you wear a bra. So funny story. It I humiliate Terry. Now you and I Abby, you could not wear this in public without a bra because you were. Absolutely not. I can't wear anything without a bra.
So I'm very different. Like nursing, like babies have just, I've just been so many different sizes from pregnancy and breastfeeding. And then anyways, so last night we had to run a few errands that were all supposed to be like in the vehicle, like not getting out of the vehicle. So after my shower, I had thrown this on without a bra, not thinking I had to get out of the vehicle. Well, and Terry's always he always tells me, you're such a hillbilly, Reagan. Because I literally I'm like half hillbilly, half hippie. I would love to, I go around the neighborhood in my bare feet sometimes, pushing the baby.
Sure. Uh-huh.
So I wasn't supposed to, so I had shoes on, but I didn't have a bra. And then the kids wanted Chipotle. So Terry didn't want to go in. So he made me go in. So I'm like, try. And then I'm walking out like a free bird. And he's just like, you are the biggest hillbilly ever. And I said, I wasn't supposed to get out of the vehicle.
Yeah. You're like, well, this was unplanned out. I mean, that's their fault for making you get out.
Isn't it the most freeing thing for moms? No mask. No bra.
No mask, no bra.
Mask, no bra.
We need to have like a mask burning party like they did the bra burning thing when this is all over with.
Like no mask, no bra. It's just like, man, make a mama feel comfortable.
I know.
But I did for the show. I did.
Well, I didn't. That's why I have a robe on.
We keep it. We level each other out.
Keeping it real. Okay. I also want to tell everybody, have you tried the Dr. Pepper Zero?
No, but we do, like when you were here at our house, we do the Coke Zero.
Coke Zero. Well, I'm here to tell you, Dr. Pepper Zero is fantastic.
Is it really? Well, my son, and it's so bad because I know the really holistic people are going to judge me because I don't like my children to have soda, but sometimes they have soda. My oldest son, the most, he loves Dr. Pepper. He loves Dr. Pepper, so we'll have to try Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper Zero is very good. I just got some. They now make the Dr. Pepper cream soda Zero.
Oh, is it cream soda? That was always associated with like root beer, right?
Right. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, it's like a.
Yeah.
So now I got a 12 pack of that. So
I'll have to try it.
So
well, here's my thing too. Here's my little bit on this. And again, no judging because I drink Diet Coke and I drink Coke Zero. But here's the thing. When you see, whether it's like in a drink or whether it's in some type of processed food, when you see sugar-free, is it really sugar-free? Because sugar has like 40 different names, right? So it can be hidden. So I'm always like, when you see 0 calories, okay, there's 0 calories. But sometimes when I drink these things or eat these products that are like, sugar, sometimes I still like, it does something to me too. Like I get so bloated and in so much pain that the fake sugar, the other sugar products or whatever,
may have like sugar alcohols in it or something.
It's like something that it does it to me that it's like almost worse.
Yeah.
You
have to be careful with how much of this stuff you drink.
Right. Seriously.
Like you don't want to overindulge on because it does have like aspartame in it. So, which they say is terrible, but I drink a lot of aspartame.
Well, I'm going to let you, I'll come back with a report next Tuesday. And I know you and I have talked about, you were like talking about when you started shopping at Whole Foods and you got like that oat milk or something or other.
Oat milk. Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been following a couple of these girls on Instagram that just make all these like healthy foods all the time. And I'm always like, why can you just come make it for me? Like, but anyway, so I'm seeing a lot of these super healthy people, energized people drinking matcha. Have you ever heard of that? It's like this green drink. It looks gross. It looks gross because me and you, like our coffee, we have a little coffee with our cream.
Right. Yeah.
So that's me every morning. And again, I feel so sluggish. So I see all these healthy, energized people drinking this matcha with all these health benefits. So I ordered it last night off of Amazon, this really well, and supposedly
Elizabeth just said it tastes like grass.
Wonderful. Well, and I tried I think it has to be an acquired taste because I also did.
Grass has to be an acquired taste.
Grass. Well, no, you know about the celery juice binge thing. Like that's one of the most insane health benefits is celery juice. And some people they down it. I have tried it 3 or 4 different times. I am over the sink dry heaving. Like for $1,000, I don't know if I can get it down because but there's benefits. So I think it's an acquired taste. Terry's
drinking Diet Coke while watching it. Well, it's fine. I'm drinking my Dr. Pepper Zero.
So,
I mean, you know what? I drink my Dr. Pepper Zero, and then every day I take this GI Revive to help my gut biome.
Yes.
So, you just have to balance it out. And then I don't have to drink a celery thing.
Well, see, and I told Terry this too, with all of my gut issues, I think I have leaky gut syndrome. Like that's a thing that, I don't know, they say like 80% of people have gut issues. The majority of people's issues
I think we all have gut issues.
I think we do.
Yeah.
But
so
like I think
you have to get some GI Revive.
This is not an ad.
I'm not paid to. I just drink it every day. GI Revive.
Something. I always have these good thoughts of like, I'm going to drink my matcha.
This doesn't taste bad, so it doesn't taste like grass.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do things that taste bad. And I don't want to do things that like that feel like I'm eating like drink. Like if it's like pulpy, like, you know, like my orange juice cannot have any pulp in it.
Oh, I heard it from the kids. I accidentally bought orange juice with pulp in it, and they're all.
It's gotta be smooth. Like it's gotta be smooth. And matcha sounds like something to me that I would have to chew on to drink.
Well, no, it is matcha. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make it right, but they use this little fancy brush and then some pour, and it looks silky smooth though. I'll send you a little video when I do mine. I'm sure it'll be clumps of green.
Oh, okay, no. You're going to be gagging, and it's going to make me gag.
I know. Oh, my God.
You should drink your matcha on the morning show.
I know. Oh, next week. Here's my true feelings on it.
Which we never did our ice bath.
I know. You know what? We need to have our people reach out to Jesse Itzler. He's a health guru, too. The guy who does these ice baths. I think the last one he did was with like Tony Robbins, like this virtual ice bath, because otherwise you and I would just baby out of it. We won't do it otherwise.
I would have to be held accountable
like totally held accountable because like my showers need to be stinging my skin. Hot.
Yeah, it has to be really hot. I like my really, really hot shower.
Oh, one day we're going to be so healthy. We're going to feel great.
One day. Like, yeah, when I'm in heaven, I'm going to be in my best body ever. Jesus, make me well.
Well, speaking of that's a great segue into one of our topics. I felt Abby and I were going back and forth, and then we kept like adding things. I feel like there's so many good little things to hit on. So one of the things, you know, that we wanted to talk about was more recently, kiddos are now going to get am I allowed to say the V word? Does it get like that people
I say V word and you're like, are you talking about vagina or vaccine?
Well, I see when people post, like sometimes they can't write the whole word out. They call it the jab. But anyways, you know, kiddos are going to get it now. And so I want to preface this with this. When I was taking the baby on a walk this morning, I was thinking of this because everyone pretty much knows, unless you're watching us for the first time, knows how Abby and I feel. And here's the thing. So many people like Abby and I will be like, how, you know, with 100% survival rate for children, how can somebody put their kiddos up there to take this experimental vaccine that we don't know anything about, whether short-term or long-term side effects? And she and I can be like, whoa, like we're not putting it in our bodies, let alone our children's bodies. And then again, in so many facets of our world right now, people are just seeing black or white. And so while we're seeing over here, we have other parents who are like, they feel informed and they feel like they're doing their best job at protecting their child or children, thinking, I'm doing good by taking my child for this. So I feel like parents have good intentions and they want protection. But what breaks my heart is that our fear-driven media has caused this panic, and whatever's being perpetuated, do you know what I mean? It's just causing people to not look at, like I watched a pharmacist take out it was like this tiny pamphlet of all of the ingredients. And literally she opened a new vaccine and unrolled it to be like a scroll this long from the little like pamphlet of everything. Like, I guess it's confusing that people can feel confident with so much unknown. Am I saying that right, Abby?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's a strange time that we're living in, that people are willing to experiment with their children.
Right.
That fear has driven us to experiment with our children.
Right.
And I guess if I mean, I guess if there was something, I guess if this was something where, if we were living in times of polio, for example, and we had, you know, children being infected with polio,
Mm-hmm.
and we were all around us seeing children being, you know, infected with polio, and I was looking around and seeing children around me, children I knew, and I was going, okay, yeah, I'm willing to take that risk, right?
Right.
With my children, because I don't want them to be, you know, paralyzed their whole life. I don't want them to, you know, whatever, right? Or, you know, smallpox, or so, you know what I'm saying? Like if there was something happening in our world where children were dying at a massive, in a like in mass, right? Um, if there was some sort of disease that was targeting children in mass,
Mm-hmm.
and I was saying, you know, oh my gosh, like this is, you know, this is targeting children. But the bottom line is that the flu is actually more dangerous to children than COVID, right?
Right.
But I can't imagine a time where I would say, you know, there are very few risks to children who get COVID. And actually, if a child gets COVID, then uh, it boosts their immunity later on. Um, eh, I I just can't imagine a time where I would say, gosh, the risk of a child dying from COVID is less than 1%. Children who get COVID do very well. Um, uh, the rate of children getting COVID is actually very low. The rate of children transmitting COVID is actually very low. And so I'm going to give them this experimental vaccine where the actual side effects of the vaccine are riskier than the actual virus.
Right.
Um, and I just can't imagine doing that. Um, I don't judge parents that do. I just, for me, as a parent with 8 children, um, it's just not something that I would ever do. If we were in a situation where children were dropping like flies from COVID, then I can imagine a scenario where I would give my child an experimental vaccine to
Right.
protect them.
Right.
But you know, and I remember, I'll tell you an example, sort of, sort of similar, but not, but kind of. So one of my best friends from high school, she had a baby. She might actually watch this later because she watches our show sometimes. She had a baby that was born actually when I was pregnant with Grace. She had a son who was born, and they had tested her for strep B. You know how everybody's flying here. Everybody's tested for strep B whenever they're pregnant. And she had tested negative for group strep B.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point in time during, the time where she tested negative for group strep B, and then the time where she delivered, she had either developed it or the test had come back wrong, or I don't know. They ever figured out what happened. But anyway, group strep B had colonized. And when she delivered her baby actually transmitted, her baby got group strep B.
Right.
And he actually passed away about 24 hours after his birth. And it was devastating. It was totally unexpected. It was completely, it was a fluke thing. It was so rare. I mean, I've never heard of it happening. It was so rare, right? And so when I was pregnant with Grace, I was talking to my doctor, and I was like, look, this happened to my friend. And she was like, Abby, that's so rare. And I said, well, it doesn't feel rare when you know somebody that it happened to. Yeah. And those were the exact words. And she said, yeah, I understand, but it's rare. Right. I've never known of that happening to anybody else. And I said, well, I want every test. I want antibiotics when I'm giving birth. I want, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, Abby, we're not going to give you unnecessary things because of this rare event that took place to somebody that you know. We're not going to over-medicate you. We're not going to over-medicate your baby. We're not going to do these things that are unnecessary just because of something that happened to somebody that you know that was extremely, extremely rare.
Yeah. And
so they didn't. And I was nervous about it, right?
Sure.
And then when I had Alex, I had a different doctor, and I brought it up to my doctor, and I was still nervous, right? Mm-hmm. And I said the same thing. I was like, well, don't you think, I know my test came back negative, but, don't you think that I should, have antibiotics? Don't you think you should go ahead and give, Alex some antibiotics? And my doctor said the same thing.
Right.
Even though you know someone that this happened to, doesn't mean we're going to give you medication and give your baby medication that's not indicated. We're not going to experiment with you and your baby.
Right.
Just because you know someone that this happened to, because that's so incredibly rare.
Right.
And so then when I had Carter, I actually did test positive for strep B. And so then they gave me the medication that was indicated, and everything was fine. So that's sort of an example, just because you may know someone that this extremely rare thing happened to, doesn't mean that we need to experiment on an entire population when it's not indicated.
Right.
And so that's sort of how I feel about this experimentation with our children right now.
And just as you were talking, you know, a few comments that came up. And Abby, and I don't want to speak for you, but I do believe you and I both said this before, quite a while ago. Someone asked if, you know, we're anti-vaccine and our children don't have their normal vaccines.
I'm not.
Nor Abby nor myself, we're not anti-vaccine.
Mm-mm.
So that's not the thing either. And when, and I think we have a parent on here, or she's talking about her own child or another a child who suffers, you know, with lung issues, you know, severe health conditions. You know, if you are in that position and any type, whether it's COVID or the flu or any type of pneumonia or any type of like chest infection, inflammation, you know, you have to weigh the pros and cons there of, I need to roll the dice with the experimental vaccine versus getting this. But I think Abby and I are speaking more to the majority who just have healthy children, and we do have such a high survival rate, almost 100% for children. That's where the confusion is. And we're already.
Well, and I think there was a question too about like flu versus COVID. The flu is much, much more dangerous for children than COVID is. And those numbers are out there. You can Google them. The flu is much more dangerous for children, for infants, for young children than COVID is. The death rate for children is much higher with flu than COVID. Certainly I don't have to do all the work for you. You can Google. So, I mean, I've just, you know, it's like Pam said, I feel like that we should always be able to refuse treatments. Parents should always have that ability to refuse treatments for their children, you know, within reason, of course, unless, you know, unless you're refusing something that's, you know, of course,
pertinent to saving your life. Yeah, it's just, I agree. There's no way that this should be mandated. And I feel like we're going to, especially over the course of the next school year, I don't know, I feel like we're going to see more restrictions. And I think the most alarming thing for me is now more studies are coming out that similarly to the flu shot, this is going to be, oh, well, it's not, you know, you're probably going to need to get another one. And this is going to need to be an annual thing. And then just to be safe, you know, with all these different strains. And so it just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to keep mutating just like the flu.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, and then what's absolutely disturbing, 2 videos came out over the last week that were, one was a 10-year-old little girl and one was a high school boy, both around this virus, and extremely disturbing. And the 10-year-old girl from Colorado was on her school bus. She wasn't feeling well. She had, in the footage, it's disturbing to watch. She had the mask just down here, wasn't fully covering her nose. She didn't feel well. And the male bus driver went up to her and smacked her across the face. Mm-hmm. And supposedly, now I do not know this for sure, but supposedly this was his second time being abusive. And that, I mean, over any situation, but around these masks, it's like, I just want to, I've seen little children crying and struggling and running and trying to breathe, and they're sick. it's just like unmask our poor babies. Like this is it. Do you know what I mean? It's is a mother is a it's infuriating for me to see that.
I feel like every day almost there's something coming out, like a bad teacher in a public school or something happening with public schools. Like, I don't know what is going on. I mean, like, I went to public school in high school, and I'd gone to a private school up until then, but I didn't have like these bad public school experiences. I feel like I don't know what has happened to public schools. I don't know when it happened. I don't know what switch was flipped, but my gosh, like over the past 10 years, it's been like, now we're essentially, allowing pornography into our schools through our sex ed curriculum. We've got this, transgender ideology in our public school system now. You've got, the acceptance of lies in the public school system now. We've got, little boys saying they're little girls saying they're little boys, and the school teachers are saying, yeah, class, now, Daniel goes by Samantha, and we're all going to call him a her, and we're all going to call him Samantha now, which is just a lie. So now we're teaching our children to lie at a young age. I mean, starting in kindergarten, this is happening.
Yes.
But that just goes right along with the pornography that's being taught, in schools, breaking down their natural inhibitions, breaking down their natural modesty, teaching them about graphic sex education beginning in kindergarten and first grade. And now, of course, with the Black Lives Matter thing, that's being taught in our school system, the 1619 curriculum that's reteaching history. It's really I guess taking prayer out of school, that was, that certainly, kids, when I grew up even in the public school, this was I graduated 23 years ago, I think. So when I started public school, it was 27 years ago, but every morning in third period, we said the Pledge of Allegiance and we said a prayer.
Right.
So, that's, that's different. That's changed, of course. So, I know where we are. All right. See you later, Deborah. This is not an airport. You do not have to announce your departure. I know in our school districts where we are, in Austin, of course, very liberal. But we've got, gay pride, flags hanging in the hall. We have the BLM flags, hanging in the hallway. We're teaching this Marxist nonsense to our children at a young age. It's everywhere.
Wow.
We've, changed our textbooks to reflect this. So it's shocking to see, when I saw this Colorado thing, take place. It was shocking to see this happen. This, this grown man, this large man, rear back and slap this child across the face. But honestly, Reagan, our schools are abusing our children in so many ways.
Right.
And I'm seeing it every day.
Yeah.
There was the other video I think you're talking about is that teacher that was yelling at that boy.
Right. I mean, this female teacher was degrading this young man. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Abby, he didn't get he didn't get a vaccine, or he did.
Right. He didn't get a vaccine, but he's like a kid.
Right.
He's like a student.
He's a student, and she had just unleashed on him. And a student is recording this who's behind the teacher, and she is saying, and again, because she is just covered in fear and spewing hate,
losing her mind,
saying that she doesn't want to die due to his choices. And then she goes into, do you even know what people think of you? Nobody likes you. You should hear the things people say about you. Completely tearing this boy apart. And I wanted to bawl. I felt terrible for this young man. I'm not sure what type of discipline this teacher received. I taught for 10 years, and that is appalling to me. But this type of, it's this infiltration is happening everywhere. And a lot of times, as we know, Abby, infiltration happens, it can happen very calmly and with love.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Which makes it even more, it doesn't always look like someone going off the deep end. Sometimes it does. Not usually, though. And that's the confusion part. A lot of times evil is in lies and deception. It's presented in a calm way and with love, and we're supposed to all hold hands and accept everyone and everything. And that's, so my children, 2 of my daughters in public school, 2 of them have, and they're, my kiddos were, we're all Roman Catholic. God, Jesus are a huge part of their lives. We talk about Jesus every day. They always have questions. They had brought it up to friends at school, and both times the friends had told the teacher on them, and they got in trouble for offensive talk, bringing up God in school. If it was offensive. We're talking about, and you and I both wrote over the weekend about things being offensive. And then I have another child who was confused about a male student wanting to be called her and she, and just completely confused. And I can't explain it or justify that.
Nor should you.
Nor should we. And then the same thing when, I call this the snowball movement, for such as celebrities like Demi Lovato.
Oh God.
She grew up with all the Disney movies and like the Camp Rock, and like my oldest used to watch all her movies, and it becomes the snowball effect when you see your idols and more people doing this. So I don't even understand it. One of my children asked me, well, what's a they or them?
I was like, okay, every time these celebrities do this, I'm like, the headline needs to be like, Demi Lovato wants more attention. That's what it needs to be.
Well,
I just was like, what in the world? Like, that's not even grammatically correct. I can't do it because it's not grammatically correct. Like, I can't do it. I won't do it.
Like how was Demi? They is okay. Because if we're talking singular, it can't be plural, right? So I know from a teacher,
I can't. I will not do it.
it's not grammatically correct, but just from a moral, ethical, scientific standpoint,
They is great. I'm not doing it. I'm not. Nope.
So
That's stupid.
here's the thing, and Abby, and you know this, and I know this, and it's okay because we know it's coming. We will be judged for this. We will be called racist, and we will be, saying we're unchristian-like and filled with hate, and that's just not the case. We are not. And I'm seeing more of our outspoken Christians right now just being done with, no, I am a Christian. I am God-fearing. I am trying to be Christ-like.
We actually do fear God.
Right.
That's why we talk this way.
Yes. And so that does not mean acceptance of sin and lies. That's not part of it. Mm-mm. And that's where I think, because I'm very open, my husband and I are like very different on this. He's also Catholic, but he's much more be quiet, be loving, be accepting. That's it. And I'm like, I can't be accepting of something
people straight to hell.
Of false. That's what I said. I can't. He's like, but it's not, and again, because he wants to be loving and kind and accepting. And I said, he's like, it doesn't affect our children. And I'm like, it absolutely affects our children. Mm-hmm. It's just infiltrated everywhere. It's now part of it's normal society. It's become normal. And I refuse to make that normal. I can't. Mm-hmm. And that's where people are struggling right now, because we're in this time, Abby, that there's no more being wishy-washy. There's no more, you can't be in the middle. It's really choosing the side of black or white. And I still fail daily. I constantly, and again, the closer I get in my walk to Christ, the more flaws I see that are just like, you know what I mean? More regret I feel over decisions. And the more I see, my gosh, look at man, I lost my patience today. Man, I complain a lot. Man, I can do this with more grace. I feel like the holier you try to become, the more you see the little flaws even. But this is just, God doesn't conform with the times. And so,
okay. And what is going on with all these cicadas everywhere? Have you seen this?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Reagan, you need to look. Like, there's all these cicadas everywhere. Brood X cicadas. I think it's the end of the world.
My anxiety is going to go, okay, here, Brood X. Like, they're like little beady red-eye flies. Are they flies?
They're cicada, cicadas, right?
No, I don't. What's a cicada?
They're awful. They're
no brood for cicadas. What happens if your dog eats? What are these? They look like demonic flies.
They're gross. They're big, and apparently, I don't know, they're coming here, or they're expecting. Okay, it says. Brood X is one of the largest groups of periodical cicadas across the country, expected to emerge in 15 states. Cicadas are disgusting. They make all that noise, like that noise.
Yeah. I've heard noise before. Does that mean they're in North Carolina?
I don't know, but
it's like cricket sounding like.
Sorta, yeah.
Now I have to. Oh, it was the murder hornets. Brandy, she wrote, or they murder cicadas, not the killer bees. It was the murder hornets last.
I can't even look at them with that. They're so gross, y'all. And
something else. Literally, the book of Revelation unfolding.
And then they leave their shells everywhere. There will be little cicada shells everywhere. Okay. It says their emergence kicked off in Tennessee and Georgia about 2 weeks ago.
That's right. That's there. Those right next to me.
Okay. They don't bite.
Well, so can
Y'all,
they Texas or what?
like, I hope they don't come to Texas, because if they do, I'm never going outside until they're gone. The cicadas will be around for 4 to 6 weeks. I have been seeing like videos of these things, and it's disgusting.
Well,
there will be like thousands of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, just more things to.
I don't get it. Why there's so many?
I don't know. I'm not an insect
And
person.
where are they? It's like the cicadas had to wait out the cold snap until the temperatures warm back up. Cicadas emerge when the soil temperature reaches 64 degrees. Where are they?
Where are they? Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you what.
And then they often pop up after a warm rain. Where are they? In the ground?
That's like the snakes. I don't know.
They just pop up?
Like the snakes come out after a rain.
Where have they been hiding?
In the woods?
There could be, Reagan, there could be as many as 1 million cicadas per acre.
Oh, well, that's like, someone needs to get some bug spray. Oh my God.
More than bug spray.
I would rather get a cicada than a snake. Again, I'd rather see a bear.
Give me a snake over 1 million cicadas per acre.
I'd rather see a bear than a snake. And everywhere, like snakes are like extra down here this year. Snakes are like, they're on the prowl. And snakes always remind me of like satanic and evil. I'd rather see a bear. I'd rather pet a bear than see a snake. I'd rather pet a bear.
Randy says they're coming from hell. Obviously. That's where they are. And then Satan is like pops them up from the ground. They're disgusting. I can't believe you don't know what a cicada is.
I don't. I'm so uneducated.
They're terrible.
Ew.
They're like the worst.
Great.
Oh, Amanda said she found a bunch of shells in her yard. Yeah, they leave like shells everywhere.
We need a sound. Someone needs to pull some of our sound effects for this. These little. Well, in closing, as we wrap this up here, talking about and
then people eat them, Reagan. People eat the cicadas
for like protein, I
guess.
Oh, ew!
They're eating them.
Oh well, that's gross. Don't eat cicadas. Speaking of just being out and about, I know we have people in our community from everywhere. I'll tell you who I'm really sympathizing for right now, and that is our Canadian friends. It is, I watched a video this morning of police handing out numerous tickets because people were violating law of being in groups of more than 5 and shaking hands.
If you shake somebody's hand in Ontario, you get a ticket. 2 tickets.
What is that? And people that say, well, we've been talking about, I think people need to Google communism. And so what is happening to our freedom? A ticket for shaking somebody's hand. I saw this sign in Arizona. It was on the door, and this is how everyone needs to do it. This sign had said, whether you wear a mask, whether you've been vaccinated, it's none of our business. Come on in. It's none of our business whether you want to wear a mask or not. It's none of our business whether you've been vaccinated or not. And that's
Canada is as gross as cicadas.
What's that?
Canada is as gross as cicadas. Wow. Right now.
Abby's
Is anybody listening from Canada? Are y'all like actually having to deal with? I mean, it's bad in Ontario. I know that right now. They're like you can't like assemble. You can't shake hands. You can't get within like 2 meters.
Here's the thing, and this is how it should have been all along. If you want to wear a mask, if you are in some type of fear or health, if you have certain conditions, wear your mask, take extra precautions, do not leave your home,
Do what you want.
Do not open your business. But that does not mean you cannot keep putting these unrealistic guidelines, these regulations, I don't even want it, these imprisonments upon people. And here's the thing, Abby, and I'm going to say it, and you and I haven't had this conversation yet. And so again, this is not from Abby, this is just for me, but you watch, it is coming. And I believe this from prophecy. We're going to get hit again with another virus, and the next one is supposed to be even worse than what this was. And it's as we're walking through, again, I think it's just only the beginning stages of the tribulation. I feel like, again, we haven't seen anything yet. And supposedly what is to come is worse, far worse than what we've seen.
Well, I hope it happens. We don't have a Democrat in office, because I mean, who knows what would happen then? We would be like Canada.
Well, and that's just my, yeah. Crazy times, my friend, crazy times. So it is, that's why I always say, Abby and I always close our show saying, to armor up in God right now more than ever. And you can't live your life in fear. You cannot. But
and if you're a Christian, what are you scared of?
Right. Besides cicadas.
Yeah, very afraid of cicadas.
It's
not really fear. It's a grossness. They're just gross, and they stick to things. I don't want them to stick to me. They're like dry land leeches. They're gross. I feel like you need to experience them so you can really understand what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I'm going to be on the lookout. And because I'm going to be thinking about it, I'm going to manifest all these cicadas around. Anyone who has photos or footage, make sure you tag Abby.
I don't. You need to go on Twitter and start just
cicada movement.
You need to search Brood X on Twitter. You'll be
I love how Twitter works. Whenever I get on Twitter to scroll, I always see the stuff I need to see. I'll see Abby Johnson has liked it, or Abby Johnson has commented. So a lot of my news I get it from Abby Johnson, who is interacting.
You need to search Brood X, and then you'll see.
Oh Lord.
You'll see what's going on with all these cicadas.
We totally shifted the waters from talking about vaccinations to cicadas, so we can take your mind off of those.
Woo! The end of the world, guys.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, it's been fun. I love our laid back, unplanned talks. You just never know what's going to come out of Abby and I's mouth.
You never know. All right, go get yourself some Dr. Pepper Zero.
Oh, yes. And some, what is that? The gut health?
Oh, yeah. And
Revive?
GI Revive.
GI Revive.
So you can drink your Dr. Pepper Zero.
I'm going to bring my matcha on next week.
My gosh. My dad said, I can't believe my daughter is afraid of a bug. Look, they're gross, Dad. Cicadas are gross. And again, it's not that I'm afraid of them. They're just gross.
Oh my gosh.
I am legit afraid of cockroaches, though. Nope. Yeah. Cockroaches are gross. Cockroaches are disgusting. And one time in college, there was a cockroach in our tub. And I was like, oh, and you don't want to squish them because they make a noise when you squish them and then their guts squirt out everywhere, you know? Yeah. So I was like, I'm just going to put a cup over it. And then I'm going to let my roommate, Johanna, deal with it. Yeah. And so, and I was like, we'll deal with it together, you know? So I put a cup over it and then I forgot about it. And so then when she went to the shower later, she like saw the cup and like picked it up. And then the roach was like really feisty, you know, because it had been in the cup for like a day. And so then it was like, pew, like shot out of there. And I just heard her like scream like a maniac. And I was like, oh, that roach. She saw that roach. And so then I was like, oh crap. And she was like, Abby! But I was like, oh, sorry about that roach. And then she killed it. So,
oh my God.
You know, it was like, okay, sorry about that. She was like, just kill it. I was like, I can't kill them. They're so gross and they crunch and they like squirt juice out whenever you.
Oh my God. It was so funny.
So that's like the one bug I can't kill. But
and for all of you whose children needs a science little extra lesson, all of our insect talk today with the juices being squeezed out and crunching noises. And
I know, but I took a whole bunch of entomology classes in college. Like I took so many. I was so interested in it. I almost could have gotten a minor because I loved learning about bugs and stuff, but I just don't want them touching me.
Yeah. Just stay home.
I prefer them dead.
Right. Oh my God. Oh, there's my brother-in-law, Trump 2024. Oh, gotta get that in. Oh my God. I will say this in ending. I've told Abby this. We will see Abby someday in some type of office. I just know it. I feel it in my bones. Abby will be needed. And when it is her time, God's going to call her to some, I don't know which house, which office, which little place she's going to be sitting on, but I'm calling it. So we're going to go back to this on May 24th, 11:04 a.m. Reagan Long.
And all these videos are going to come out. My opponent doesn't even wear a bra when she goes up.
The woman who's afraid of cicadas, we're going to let her.
You think she can actually run your state? She couldn't even handle a cicada crisis.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Up, my friends.
Maybe one day. No, I do think eventually one day I will.
You will. And
but I gotta get my kids older, a little bit older.
Gotta get some of these babies.
Yeah.
But grown. All right. Well, I'm so glad we got this in on a Monday. I hope everyone has a fabulous week. It's my kids' last week of school, so I'm ready for summer vibes.
Yes, absolutely. My kids are done. So
yeah, I know a lot of kids just finished up last week, but Friday's our last day, so I'm ready.
Awesome.
Ready. All right, Abs. I will see you next week.
Okay, y'all have a great week.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.